The Amazon rainforest sits on some of the worst agricultural soil on Earth. That statement should not surprise you. You've been told the opposite your entire life. Lush, green, teeming with life. The Amazon must have extraordinary soil. It doesn't. Beneath that canopy, the soil is thin, acidic, and almost completely stripped of nutrients. The density of life you see above ground is actually a closed loop. Organisms decompose. Nutrients get immediately reabsorbed. Nothing accumulates. Farming in the Amazon has always been a losing proposition. Crops exhaust the soil within a few seasons, and farmers move on, leaving degraded land behind. So, when European explorers first pushed into the Amazon interior in the 1500s, they reported something that their colleagues back home dismissed as hallucination. Cities, enormous settlements, hundreds of thousands of people, agriculture that sustained populations no one thought the Amazon could support. Nobody believed them. It took until the 1870s for Western science to find the first physical evidence that those reports were real. They found it in the dirt. What they found? In 1871, botanist James William Trilby was surveying the lower Amazon when he noticed something wrong. The soil in a specific patch of jungle was the wrong color. Amazon soil is pale, yellowish-red, laterite, the color of clay baking in tropical heat. What Trilby found was black, not dark brown, not charcoal gray. Black, like rich farmland from the American Midwest, dropped in the middle of a South American jungle. He dug down. The blackness continued. Meters deep in some places, he found charcoal fragments, fish bones, pottery shards, animal remains, all mixed into the earth in a way that didn't occur naturally. He collected samples, he published his findings, and for nearly a century the scientific community did essentially nothing with them. The dominant view was that the Amazon had always been a wilderness, sparsely populated, largely untouched, a pristine jungle with no significant human history. The idea that someone had engineered the soil on a massive scale didn't fit that narrative. Then, in the 1960s and 1970s, researchers began systematic testing. What they confirmed changed the model permanently. The black soil, called Terra Preta, Black Earth in Portuguese, was human-made, deliberately created. By a civilization that had occupied the Amazon at a scale the archaeological record had completely missed, and it covered roughly 10% of the entire Amazon basin. The civilization that built it between approximately 450 BCE and 950 CE, a span of roughly 1,400 years. The Amazon basin supported populations that modern estimates place in the tens of millions, not scattered tribes, urban settlements. Researchers have documented sites suggesting individual communities of 100,000 people or more. To feed that many people in the Amazon, you need soil that doesn't exist there naturally. So they made it. The process, as best as scientists have reconstructed it, combined several elements. Low-intensity charcoal from cooking fires, what we now call biochar, layered with food waste, fish and animal bones, human waste, broken pottery, compost, ash, not dumped, managed, built up over generations, layer by layer, intentionally worked into the native soil across areas that, in some cases, stretch for hundreds of acres. The result was a soil so radically different from surrounding Amazon Earth that researchers measuring it centuries later found phosphorus levels 7 times higher than background, carbon concentrations 3 times greater, and a microbial ecosystem unlike anything in adjacent soils. Then the European colonists arrived. By 1600, the Amazon's population had collapsed. Smallpox, violence, Displacement. The cities were abandoned. The jungle swallowed the settlements, and the Terra Preta was left behind. Unmanaged, unmaintained, abandoned for 4 centuries. Still fertile. Here is the detail that stops soil scientists mid-sentence. Terra Preta regenerates. Local farmers who have harvested Terra Preta for generations, removing it to sell to plant nurseries and agricultural operations, report returning to the same site 20 years later and finding the black soil has grown back. Not metaphorically, physically. The black layer extends deeper and wider than when they left it. No soil on Earth does this under normal circumstances. Soil is not a renewable resource on human timescales. You can add fertilizer. You can add compost. You can amend and manage. But the soil itself, its fundamental structure, its carbon content, its microbial architecture, does not regenerate passively. Once it's degraded or removed, it's gone. Except here. In 2023, a research team at the University of São Paulo added just 20% Terra Preta to degraded adjacent soil. The crops planted in it doubled in growth. Trees grown in dark earth soil grow 6 times taller than in average Amazon dirt. Something in the soil, something that has survived 2,000 years in one of the most nutrient-hostile environments on Earth, is still biologically active, still working, still spreading, and the scientific community does not fully agree on what it is. Why no one can replicate it? In 2001, a formal research initiative called Terra Preta Nova was launched in Brazil. The goal was simple: understand the soil well enough to recreate it. After years of research, the lead scientist on the project made a statement that has been cited in soil science literature ever since. They did not get anywhere close to it. Not on fertility, not on carbon. It's completely different in physical nature, chemical nature. Modern attempts to replicate Terra Preta consistently produce soil that is better than average Amazon Earth, but not the same. Not the self-regenerating, multi-millennium, structurally distinct material the pre-Columbian civilizations built. The components are known: biochar, bone meal, organic waste, pottery fragments. The ratio of inputs, the specific species of microorganisms involved, the exact process of building it layer by layer across decades and centuries. That knowledge is gone. It disappeared with the civilization that created it. What remains is the soil itself, acting as evidence of a technology we can observe but not reproduce. Some researchers have proposed that the key is not the physical inputs, but the microbial community that developed inside Terra Preta over centuries. A distinct microbial community that maintains the soil's chemistry through biological processes rather than physical ones. That community took 1,400 years to develop. We have been trying to replicate it in a laboratory for 2 decades. We cannot. Why it matters now. Terra Preta covers an estimated 10% of the Amazon basin, roughly the size of France. In a single 24,000 square kilometer slice of Amazon forest, scientists calculated that even though just 3 to 4% of the soil is Terra Preta, it is likely storing a disproportionately massive amount of carbon. For context, Terra Preta stores up to 150 grams of carbon per kilogram of soil, compared to 20 to 30 grams in surrounding Amazon Earth. At a time when carbon sequestration has become one of the central problems of climate science, the Amazon is sitting on a 2,000-year-old solution built by a civilization that most history books don't mention. The implications extend beyond climate. Global soil degradation is accelerating. Industrial agriculture has stripped topsoil from vast regions of the planet at rates that make restoration within human timescales essentially impossible by conventional methods. Researchers from Brazil showed that Terra Preta increases the establishment and growth of seedlings of tree species important for reforestation, and that by copying the composition of Terra Preta, especially its microbes, reforestation in Brazil and elsewhere could be significantly accelerated. The soil that a pre-Columbian civilization built by composting their kitchen waste might be the closest thing science has found to a viable answer to two of the largest environmental problems of the 21st century, and we still don't fully understand how it works. The Spanish explorers who reported cities in the Amazon in the 1500s were called liars for centuries. The soil proved them right. Beneath the jungle that swallowed those cities, a civilization left behind something more durable than its architecture, more legible than its written records, because it left no written records, and more useful than its gold. It left a technology encoded in microbes and charcoal that has outlasted the people who built it by 2,000 years and is still functioning today. We have mapped the genome, we have split the atom, we have landed on the moon and photographed black holes. We cannot make dirt, not this dirt, not the kind that regenerates itself, that stores carbon for millennia, that makes trees grow 6 times taller, that a pre-Columbian civilization produced at scale across an area the size of France using only what they had around them. The Amazon's dark earth is not an archaeological curiosity, it is an open question, and the civilization that could answer it is gone.